Good morning, students. Welcome in our political science class. We are doing chapter 1, Constitution, Why and How. In our last class, we have discussed the factors which make our constitution effective, and those factors were mode of promulgation, the substantive provision of a constitution, and balanced institutional design. Today, we will discuss the third factor, institutional arrangement or institutional design. The third factor ensuring effectiveness of a constitution is a balanced arrangement of the institution of government. The basic principle is that government must be democratic and committed to the welfare of the people. बेसिक प्रिंसिपल क्या है कि गवर्नमेंट डेमोक्रेटिक होनी चाहिए और वो कंट्री के लोगों के लिए के वेलफेयर के लिए कमिटेड होनी चाहिए. द कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली स्पेंट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम on evolving the right balance among the various institutions like the executive, the legislature and the judiciary. हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली को जब वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना रहे थे, इन तीनों ऑर्गन्स में बैलेंस बिठाने में बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगा. दिस लेड टू द अडॉप्शन ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म एंड द फेडरल अरेंजमेंट. और इसी वजह से इनके बीच एक अच्छा बैलेंस बनाने के लिए पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट को अडॉप्ट किया गया और फेडरल अरेंजमेंट किया गया, विच वुड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट गवर्नमेंटल पावर between the legislature and the executive on the one hand and between the state and the central government on the other hand. While evolving the most balanced governmental arrangements, the makers of our constitution did not hesitate to learn from experiments and experiences of other countries. Thus, the framer of the constitution were not averse to borrowing from the constitutional traditions of others. Balanced institutional design बनाते वक्त हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स ने उन सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट्स और एक्सपीरियंसेस को ध्यान में रखा जो दूसरी कंट्रीज़ को झेलने पड़े थे, और जो भी अच्छे प्रोविज़न दूसरी कंट्री के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में थे उसको लेने में हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली के मेंबर्स बिल्कुल भी हेजिटेट नहीं हुए. इंडीड इट इज़ अ टेस्टामेंट to their wide learning that they could lay their hands upon any intellectual argument or historical example that was necessary for fulfilling the task at hand. So they borrowed a number of provisions from different countries. But borrowing these ideas was not slavish imitation. Far from it. Each provision of the Constitution had to be defended on grounds that it was suited to Indian problems and aspirations. बहुत सारे प्रोविज़न दूसरी कंट्रीज़ के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से बोरो किया, लेकिन ये बोरो जो था वो केवल आँख मूंद कर उसको एज इट इज़ नहीं लिया गया, बल्कि हमारी कंट्री के कंडीशन, हमारी कंट्री के सिचुएशन और हमारे लोगों के एस्पिरेशन के अकॉर्डिंग उसके अकॉर्डिंग उसको ढाला गया और तब हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में से इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया. इंडिया वॉज एक्सट्रीमली लकी टू हैव एन असेंबली दैट इंस्टेड ऑफ बीइंग parochial in its outlook could task the best available everywhere in the world and make it their own. Now we will discuss provisions borrowed from constitution of different countries. We will discuss what are the provisions borrowed in Indian constitution with other countries. The most important provisions are taken from 5 countries, which are British Constitution, United States Constitution, Irish Constitution, French Constitution, and Canadian Constitution. So one by one we will look what are the provisions we have taken from different countries' constitution. So first of all, British Constitution. From British Constitution, we have taken the provision of first past the post, parliamentary form of government, the idea of the rule of law, institution of the speaker and his role, and lawmaking procedure. The first provision is first past the post. First past the post provision is method of election. In our general election, we have taken this method to elect our representative, about which we will study in our next chapter. Second is parliamentary form of government. Parliamentary form of government means country where a parliament works as a legislature or as an executive, in which law-making process is done in parliament. So parliamentary form of government we have taken from British Constitution. Then idea of the rule of law. Rule of law means law is supreme. Everyone, whether he is a president or a normal man, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Law treated all the people equally. Then the provision of institution of speaker and his role. You know, speaker is the post in Lok Sabha which conduct the proceeding of parliament of Lok Sabha. So this institution of speaker and his role is taken from British Constitution. And then law-making procedure. Law-making procedure means the procedure in which bill is proposed in one house and then debated and sent to another house, and then it is sent to president for final signing. So law-making procedure is also taken by British Constitution. Then comes United States Constitution. From United States Constitution, we have taken Charter of Fundamental Rights, power of judicial review, and independence of the judiciary. 3 provisions are taken from United States Constitution. Charter of Fundamental Right, that is all fundamental rights which are given to the citizen of our country by our Constitution. This idea was taken from US Constitution. Then power of judicial review. Judiciary has power to review its own decision, and this provision is taken from US Constitution. And the independence of judiciary. Judiciary is an independent body and there is no pressure or no controlling of executive and legislature on judiciary. So judiciary is an independent body. Then third constitution is Irish constitution, from which we have taken directive principles of state policy. Directive principles of state policy means constitution gives some direction to the government. It states about what a government will do and what a government will not do. So, these principles are as a guideline to the government, and it is not made enforceable. This provision is taken from Irish Constitution. Then comes French Constitution. From French Constitution, we have taken principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. You have studied in your history French Revolution, and the idea of liberty, equality, freedom emerged in French Revolution, and the philosopher of that time given and spoke about these values, which were first adopted by US Constitution, and these principles are also adopted in our Constitution also. Then comes Canadian Constitution. From Canadian Constitution, we have taken quasi-federal form of government. Quasi-federal government, federal government, where power is divided between government, central government and state government. And a quasi-federal government means a federal system with a strong central government. A federal system in which central government has more power, it is called quasi-federal form of government. And the idea of residual powers. Powers are divided into state government and central government through list of constitution. There are 3 lists in our constitution: union list, state list, and concurrent list, in which all the powers are mentioned in all the functions listed in union list will be done by union government, central government. All the functions which are listed in state list will be conducted by state government, and concurrent list, there are some functions which has been listed in concurrent list in which both central government and state government has power, but at the time of confusion, at the time of conflict, central government decision will prevail. And some provisions which were left at the time of constitution, at the time of making constitution, these all power are given to central government, that are called residuary powers. So, residual powers are given to central government, and the provision we have taken from Canadian Constitution. So, these are the provision our constitution makers borrowed from other countries' constitution, but it is not taken as it is. It is not a mere imitation, but its provisions are changed according to our country's circumstances. So sometime Indian constitution is called bag of borrowing. We can say Indian constitution is a bag of borrowing because we have taken so many provisions from other countries' constitution, but at the same time it is not true because we have not borrowed all the provisions as it is. We have checked all the provisions we have discussed. We have debated on the point, on each and every point, and which provisions were suited in the circumstances of our country. Only that provisions we have taken from other countries' constitution. So this is all about this chapter. Hope you have understood the chapter. If still there is any problem, if still there is any query, you can contact me. Thank you and have a nice day.